So good morning friends, welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. So guys, here we are about to start the session. The PDF for today's session has already been uploaded on our Telegram group. You can download the PDF from there. So friends, again I am reminding you about the new public administration course that I will be taking up. So PubAd I will be taking up, and the demo classes will be scheduled on 16th and 17th, and from 18th onwards we will be commencing the new batch. Okay, so those who are interested, they can join it. So without wasting much time, let's start this session. Sufficient number of people have already joined us. Okay, so here I can see Mohit, Pooja, Sanjukta, Ajay, Cake Planet, Rushi, Ritu, Supreet, Dr. Pretty, Vivek, Vaibhav, Tarun, good morning all. So let's start the session without wasting much time. Now here we are going to discuss the statement made by Dalai Lama. He says that compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness but a sign of strength. Compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness but a sign of strength. Okay, so first of all you have to understand the meaning of compassion. It primarily means that you are able to understand others pain. Okay, you are able to understand others pain, and then you are making an effort to provide some relief to that particular person. Then only we are going to say that you are a compassionate individual. Okay, so this is the most important part here, that is the making an effort. That's the most important thing. Now the point is this, why I am emphasizing on making an effort, because you need to know the difference between, that is there between, say, sympathy. Okay, now sympathy is also there. It means that you observed, okay, you observed that someone is in pain. This is your observation. Okay, so suppose if an animal, if a dog met with an accident and you are crossing that area, definitely it will come to our mind that okay, the poor dog, like he has been hit. This is the sympathy that we have. Now when we talk about empathy, okay, when we talk about empathy means that you are putting yourself in the shoes of that individual, that you can feel the pain. Not only feel the pain, you can also understand the gravity of that pain, the amount of that pain, because you are putting yourself in the other's shoes. You are putting yourself in that situation, okay, that this situation is very difficult, he has been undergoing all these things, and this is how things are. Compassionate person is going to understand all these things, and along with that he is going to make an effort as well, so that that pain can be reduced, okay. So this is how these things should be known to you. Now he says that we have to be a compassionate individual in our life, okay, because you have to understand, when you talk about human being is a social being, You cannot grow as an individual if you don't care about others. Other point is this, tolerance. Now tolerance in the sense, you have to have that ability to understand others' point of view. You have to have the ability to understand others' point of view. You are respecting others' point of view. You are understanding others' point of view. That is tolerance. So if someone wants to live the way they want, you should not complain about it. You should have tolerance about that. You should not impose your own idea on that person. Okay. We cannot impose our own idea on others. That's the important point here. So you cannot impose your idea on others. This is what tolerance means. So if someone is following a particular religion, it's your duty to accept that. To accept that. We cannot impose our own ideas on that person. This is how the tolerance is there. Okay. So we have seen multiple times that there are some communal tensions. Primarily, those communal tensions are nothing but outcome of the religious intolerance that is there. Okay, so if there will be religious intolerance, the outcome will be communal tensions, and we don't want that situation. We don't want that situation. Okay, so that's the point you have to understand. That's the point you have to understand. But if a person is silent, he is not making any voice, that doesn't mean that he is a weak person. That concept is also important. We have to keep this in our mind. Okay, so if you are silent, you are tolerating someone, that doesn't mean that you are a weak person. You are on your own, you have your inner strength, you are holding your emotions, you are not losing your emotions. That's your core strength. That's the point here. Okay, so this is how we have to understand these things here. Now we'll start the detailed, you can say, discussion regarding the newspaper today. So here on this front page, you have nothing to be, means nothing is important for your from your exam perspective. As you can see here, okay, so it's about the party politics. We are not interested in that. But one thing is for sure, when we talk about party politics, okay, like it is directly linked with the electoral reform. So whenever you talk about electoral reform, it is really very important that we bring some reforms within the party. Within the political party, you need some reforms. Okay, till the time those reforms are not occurring, we can't expect reforms in the system. We can't expect that. Okay, that's the most important point here. So what are the issues that are there? Definitely dynasties are there. Okay, हमारे यहाँ पे काफ़ी डायनेस्टीज़ हैं. डायनेस्टी बेस्ड पॉलिटिक्स इज़ देयर. इंट्रा पार्टी डेमोक्रेसी इज़ नॉट देयर. ओके, सो इफ इंट्रा पार्टी democracy is not existing, how can you expect those individuals to facilitate democracy in your country? So if the party is not having democratic setup within the system, within itself, how can you expect that party to be democratic in the country? That's the major point here. Okay, so we can't expect that, and this is how it is also one of the major problem here that we are dealing with. Okay, so ये सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हमें यहाँ पे ध्यान रखनी होती हैं, and this is cross the spectrum. It is not just confined to one or two political parties. सब जगह यही हाल है. Okay, so this is what we have here. Now we'll move to the next news item. So government to restore monuments under its jurisdiction. Okay, so here in this news article, like we are going to get few contents related for your prelims exam. Specifically for your prelims, this particular content is important. Some of the monuments have been mentioned here. Okay, so you need to understand one thing. In India, we are really poor at maintaining our, you can say, monuments. We don't maintain our monuments. Other countries, they are really very good in that. So what is the reason? So one thing is for sure, look at the population size that is there. Okay, so population size is quite, you can say, huge in India, 138 crore, and specifically the metro cities if you look into that. Okay, so suppose in Delhi, the population will be the whole, you can say the whole area of Delhi, the population will be nearly 2.7 crore. Now this is the number. In small area, this large population is living. Okay, so you have to provide accommodation, etc., to them. So these are the practical problems that come in, you can say, preserving your monuments. So here are some of the monuments that are located in Delhi. So UPSC may ask a location based question. So these particular monuments, you may not come across these monuments, these names in your preparation. Okay, so whatever book that we are referring, that book might not be covering these particular names, but we have to know it because now it is in your newspaper. So you have Bijri Khan's tomb, you have Bada Lao Ka Gumbad, you have Gol Gumbad near Lodi flyover, you have Tomb of Pike, okay, Malcha Mahal, Azimganj Sarai. All these things are located in the city of Delhi. This is the information that should be known to you. Now, if you want to get into detail, just Google about Bijri Khan. Who was Bijri Khan? Okay, Malcha Mahal. Who constructed the Malcha Mahal? Bada Lao Ka Gumbad. Who constructed that? Okay, so this is the responsibility that I am keeping up to you. It's your responsibility that you cover these things. ठीक है जी? That's the point. So we'll move to the next part here. Next, we'll directly move to the editorial section. We'll try to figure it out what exactly is there in your editorials. Okay, so देखते हैं क्या है यहाँ पे. So here we have this news item. So the new normal of the political split and the shifts. Okay, so this particular editorial is talking about the recent shifts and a split and all. But when we look into these splits, okay, so we consider things from the moral point of view. The point is this, like, it is really very important that we keep morality, we keep ethics in politics. Okay, so ethics in politics. Now, is politics without ethics? This is the question that I am asking. Is politics without ethics? Okay, this is the question that I am asking you. You have to reply me immediately. The point that I am making is this, it depends. Okay, so you had Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi carried out ethical politics. He was quite ethical in carrying out his, you can say, political activities, that helping people, you know, mobilizing the youth, mobilizing women, mobilizing vulnerable sections of the society. This is how he used to operate. Okay, this is how he used to operate. So it's a, you can say, it depends actually. Okay, so presently, normally we always see politics in a bad term. We see that whatever things your politicians are doing, all of them are bad. But here we have this example, Mahatma Gandhi, who followed ethics in his politics. That's the scenario. Okay, yes, Aditi, you are right. This is the scenario. Now the point is this, definitely politics can be reformed as well. Okay, you tell me one thing, if your voters are informed, definitely they are going to choose right individuals, because at the end of the day, it is the people who are going to send these politicians to the legislature. That's the point. So people, they have the right and they will choose the right person in the coming time. It's just that we don't have informed and, you can say, educated citizenry to larger extent. Okay, so choices will change. Now the point that we are making is this, as a voter, as a citizen of this country, okay, major problem that we feel in the politics is this, we don't trust our politicians. Trust is missing in politics, and whenever the trust is missing in the politics, definitely there will be some problem. And look at what is happening in Sri Lanka. This is the example, this will be the outcome if people, they start losing the trust on the system. So you can directly see in the politics, if people, they lose trust on the politician, then what is happening in Sri Lanka is the consequence. So here, if your politicians, they are acting in an irrational manner, they are changing their political parties, people are going to lose the trust on them, and this will be the outcome. And this is what we have to stop. This is what we have to stop. That's the most crucial part here. Okay, that's the most crucial part here. So Hakuna Matata is saying, sir, as per the defection or disqualified can't contest for the same term, but High Court ruled disqualified can contest for the same term, which is right. Can they contest after disqualification? Yes, after disqualification they are not members anymore. They are like a new contestant, and this is what these politicians do. Okay, so this is what this editorial is about. So it is saying that at present we are talking about morality of split switches, that people are changing their affiliation, political parties are being changed. We know that some of the individuals are opportunists. Okay, but you will see that same person will be elected again. Earlier that person was contesting from Congress seat, now same person has joined BJP and again he will be elected. It means that something is wrong with the voter as well. Okay, how they are considering and what type of things are important for voters, Things are changing, things are different. That's the point. Now first the point is this: switchers violate the trust relationship that's there. Okay, so trust is violated, we know that. Assuming voters vote for parties and not candidates. The argument is that uncohesive parties make it difficult for voters to draw definite line of responsibility. Now, how will you set the responsibility? How will you set the responsibility? You elected a person who was in Congress, who was elected on Congress seat. Later, that person joined BJP. How will you make the party accountable? If that person is not able to provide governance in the area, who is responsible? Congress or BJP? Whose responsibility it was? So this is the major casualty, that you will not be able to set who is responsible and who is to be accountable for the you can say poor work that is being done in the area. That's the point here. Okay, these are the major, you can say, casualties that are there. Now we have to reform the system. How system will improve? You have to educate the voter. Okay, voter education is the most crucial thing, and this is how we have to move in that direction, and your election commission is already doing that, but the pace is quite slow. Okay, so there are a lot of things that are to be done. Now we'll move to the next editorial. Next editorial is talking about scam fault line in damaging Indian banking. Okay, so you need to understand again, when we talk about relationship between bank and the customer. So suppose you have an account in the bank. Okay, so customer is keeping his money. Customer is keeping his or her money that he or she has earned by hard work in the bank. That money has been, you can say, kept in the bank. So it means that there is an equation of trust. That equation of trust is existing between bank and the customer, account holders that are there. Okay, now the point is this: if you will come across a news that after every some days, okay, few months, bank scam are coming up, will you trust the bank? Will you trust that bank? That's the point here. Okay, so you will come across multiple news. Punjab National Bank, okay, data theft from SBI. Like there are many public sector banks that were in news, that were indulged in scam. Now the point is this: if these scam related news are emerging again and again, will you keep your money in that bank? So that trust will be lost. People will stop putting up their savings in the bank, and that is going to be major challenge. Okay, so they will stop their money, they will stop putting up their money in the bank. Now the question is, how will bank give loan then? If banks are not having money, how will they give loan? And if they are not able to give loans, how will they make income? How will they make money? पैसा कैसे आएगा? Salary कहाँ से जाएगी? The whole system will be impacted. Okay, whole system will be impacted. Banking का system impact होगा. Now, if loans are not released, okay, if savings is not there, so loans will not be there. How will you carry out developmental activity? How will you carry out developmental activity? This is again a sort of challenge. Okay, so these type of problems are existing, and this is how things are interrelated. That's why it is important that we have to fight out these scams. Okay, you have to improve your banking system, and I would like to say that RBI is a regulator for banks. Okay, so if there are multiple scams that are coming up, it means that RBI is failing to some extent. Why RBI is failing? Because RBI is overburdened. Because RBI has the multiple responsibility. At one point, RBI has to act as a regulator for banks. It has to regulate banks. Okay, this is one point. Parallel to that, the same RBI is going to handle your monetary policy. They are handling your monetary policy. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. So we need to devise a way, okay, so that the burden on RBI can be reduced, so that it can carry out its core function. You have to decide that. You have to decide that. And government have to take that, you can say, initiative. And this is the reform that is being suggested. This is the reform that is pending and it's being suggested. Okay. So here in this particular, you can say, news, in this editorial, like this person is talking about the recent scam by DHFL, and it is amounting to nearly 35,000 crore. And this scam has occurred because they got the, you can say, loan by some misrepresentation. Some sort of fake documents were produced and the loan was taken, and now that is ending up in failure. Okay, it's a economic disaster. Along with that, there are other cases. ABG Shipyard of Surat, again a loss-making entity, 23,000 money completely lost. You will come across one commonality, that most of these things are happening with the public sector bank. It means that something is wrong at the level of governance. Something is wrong. The system that they are operating in, either the officials are not working in letter and spirit, they are not, you can say, ethical, they are not carrying out due diligence. Due diligence means that you have to evaluate before giving the loan, whether this loan is profitable or not, future के अंदर कुछ पैसा कमाएंगे क्या नहीं कमाएंगे. So CBI has said that SBI is making losses, okay, Bank of India, Canada Bank, all these banks are there, Union Bank of India, Punjab National Bank. Now all of them are public sector banks. They all are, you can say, making losses because of this scam. The point is this, it is the taxpayers' money that they have. Small depositors are there, they have trust on the Sarkari bank, public sector bank, and they are basically failing their account holders. This is what we don't want. And we have already seen that if your system is failing, it is going to be disastrous for the economy as well. Okay. So there is data released by RBI which shows that 34% of the scams in the banking industry are on the account of inside work due to poor lending practice, involvement of junior and mid-level management. Okay, poor lending practice kya hai? See, this is how things are done. So earlier this is what used to happen. Politicians phone kar dete the, minister used to call up the bank officials and they used to say that paisa de do. Matlab, this is how things used to be. This is how things used to be, and because of that the volume of non-performing assets, it increased significantly. No doubt poor business environment is one thing, but we also know that how loans were given in this country. एक phone call पे loan दे दिया जाता था, ठीक है ना? So RBI is pointing out that it is primarily because of the internal problem. 34% scam जो है वो internal problem की वजह से हो रहे हैं. This is how things are. And the point is this, like these type of news that are emerging after every few weeks, it is basically breaking the trust of common man in the banking system. And that's the most disastrous thing that is happening here. So we have to avoid that situation. There are some steps that are to be, you can say, considered. We have to take those steps. So like bad loans lead to higher NPAs. First of all, you have to improve your diligence activity. भाई पढ़े लिखे लोग लगाते हो आप, you can hire experts. Okay, you can hire experts. Those experts will evaluate whether loan should be given or not. And definitely at the end of the day, if you want improvement, political interference should be reduced. Political interference kahin pe bhi nahi hona chahiye. There has to be a system for everything. If you want to appoint a director to the bank, okay, bank ka director, managing director agar aapko appoint karna hai, so even for that purpose there have to be a proper system. It should not be like that aaj BJP ki sarkar hai to BJP apne logon ko director bana rahi hai. It should not be like that. So you have to further strengthen regulation. First of all, carry out the regulatory audit. Okay, this is the suggestion that we can give. Carry out the regulatory audit. That regulatory audit will find what are the loopholes that are there. Okay, so if those loopholes are existing, try to find solutions to that. But first, आपको identify करने पड़ेगा problem कहाँ पे आ रही है. This is what we have to do here. Okay. Now, banks should be cautious while lending to Indian companies that have taken huge loan abroad, because you never know. You never know. Those particular companies, they might be under tremendous pressure. They might be already in, you can say, debt, और आपसे भी debt ले रहे हैं. There can be a chance that company might end up in a failure. Okay. So you have to be very prudent about giving that loan. Other is that there is urgent need to tighten the internal and the external audit system of the banks. Regular audits should be carried out, and those audit details should be put in public domain. Okay, so that people of this country, they should also come to know that how these public sector banks are functioning. If they are carrying out some bad practices, okay, then definitely, like, people also have the right to know that what action your government has taken to rectify that. सरकार ने क्या किया है उसको ठीक करने के लिए, वो चीज़ भी लोगों को मालूम होनी चाहिए ना. So this is how things are. We have to be, take these things into consideration. Okay. So public sector banks should set up internal rating agency for rigorous evaluation. So if there are large projects, so internal rating agency will evaluate, okay, whether this project is going to be profitable or not. If the project is going to be profitable, then only loan should be given to that. So this is the prior, you can say, activity that you have to carry out. Otherwise that will end up in the failure. That will end up in increase in, you can say, non-performing asset. Okay. This is how the outcome is going to be. Now, further, there is a need to implement effective management information system. Okay, so when you install a management information system, basically it will have some component of early warning. So if you observe that a particular company is going wrong somewhere, you will already get to know about it. आपको पहले ही पता लग जाएगा, ठीक है ना? So in this way, things are going to be helpful to us. Now, other important step that we can take is that CIBIL score for the borrowers. Okay, so like this score is there. Okay, Credit Information Bureau India Limited should be evaluated by the banks and the RBI officials, that okay, this is the borrower, he is demanding this much money. What are his credentials? Whether he has paid the loan in the past, क्या पहले इन्होंने जो भी लोन लिया था इन्होंने पे किया है? Okay, all those things. Financial frauds could be reduced to great extent by use of artificial intelligence for monitoring the financial transaction. Okay, so we have to use the technology here. Digitization is going to help us. Okay, so all these things are to be done by us. Then only we will be able to improve the whole system of banking. Otherwise, ये होता रहेगा mail चूकसी and other scams that are happening in this country. They will keep on happening. So we want the system to improve here. ओके, तो इस तरीके से सिस्टम आपका इम्प्रूव होगा. सो विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट, यू कैन से एडिटोरियल. नेक्स्ट एडिटोरियल इज रिटन बाय Shashi Tharoor ji. Okay, so he is pointing out few things that India is in a unique situation to resolve this particular conflict. So there are some fundamental questions that are emerging here, like Russia, what do they want? Okay, do they want to stop? Again, question mark is there. Ukraine, can they give up? Again, question mark is there. So these questions are existing and these are making things very difficult. Okay, so this is how things are right now. That's why the war is continuing, but we cannot afford the continuation of this war. See, you have to see the sequence of event. So you were fighting against corona earlier. Corona had impact on the global economy. The global economy was already impacted, supply chain, etc., etc. Those things were there. Okay, just after, when we were about to revive, जब हम एकदम अपने पैरों पे खड़े ही होने लगे थे, then this Ukraine-Russia war started. Now this Ukraine-Russia war, it again complicated the process, because global supply of few important things, they were again impacted. Global fuel prices, they increased. Commodity prices, they increased. Wheat prices, palm oil prices, all those things have increased after that. And this is how things are difficult, and it has made the whole activity difficult. Now the point is very simple. People are saying that Russia has revised its strategy and they want to capture the whole of the Donbas region. Along with that, they want to create a land link to Crimea. Further, they want to capture the entire of South Ukrainian coast, okay, including the port of Odessa. Here you have this map. Now this is the city, this is the country of Moldova, okay. Now Moldova has this particular region. So this region is Transnistria, okay. Transnistria is the region. In this Transnistria region, pro-Russia separatist movement is going on, okay. Pro-Russia separatist movement is going on. That's the point here. That's the point here. So when we have pro-Russia separatist movement that is going on, Russians want to connect these areas, okay. That's why they are focusing on whole of southern Ukraine. They want to completely move Ukraine out of the Black Sea axis. Russians want that Black Sea should be dominated by them. This is how things are, okay. This is how things are. Now that's the important point. They are saying that at present no serious peace talks are going on, okay. No serious peace talks are going on right now. Israelis, Turks seem to have given up their efforts. The visit of the UN Secretary General, like, it has helped improving the humanitarian relief work, but everything was limited. That's the point here. It didn't have that impact that it should have. So at present both sides are not, you can say, considering to carry out this attack, but the point is this: Indian government is rightly placed to at least give it a try. So if Israelis can try, if Turks can try, why can't we? We should also give it a try. That's the point here, okay. So we may be successful, we may not. Let's see what is going to happen. But at least we can give it a try. That's the point here, okay. So there are some suggestions that are being made, okay. So they are saying that we can we can ask both the countries to restore the position what it was before the invasion. Already in the Donbas region, separatist movement was going on. Ukraine can give up on that, okay. If the people of that area, they don't want to live with Ukraine, they don't want to be part of Ukraine, you cannot enforce yourself. Already there was significant Russian speaking population in that area. This is how things are, okay. काफ़ी ज़्यादा रशियन स्पीकिंग लोग तो थे ही उधर. अब ये चीज़ यहाँ पे एग्जिस्ट ऑलरेडी करती है, ठीक है ना. दिस इज हाउ थिंग्स वर. Parallel to that, NATO has also been strengthened right now, okay. So NATO forces, they are already strengthened. They are already helping the Ukrainians. Ukrainians are continuing this war because of the assistance has been provided by the NATO countries, and this help is going to be there in the coming time as well. चीजें इतनी जल्दी बदलेंगी नहीं, हेल्प एज इट इज रहेगी. दैट्स व्हाई दिस वॉर कैन प्रोलॉन्ग फॉर एवर. दैट इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी प्रॉब्लमैटिक, okay. So we have to make an arrangement, we have to facilitate some, you can say, peace between the two. Otherwise, look at the impact that this war has produced. Now already inflation is going on across the world. It is not just, you can say, confined to India. Everywhere this is there. Energy prices are increasing, okay, and it is hurting countries like India. We are import dependent. Then wheat exports are costlier right now. India used to import 75% of its sunflower seeds and oil from Ukraine. Everything has stopped. Commodity prices are shooting up. So, and inflation shows no sign to slow down. This is how things are problematic. And Russians and Ukrainians may not be interested in peace. But as a global citizen, it is important that we should work. As a global member, it is important that India should make an effort to restore peace, because that's the most required thing right now. That's the point which is there. So we'll move to the next part. So here we have the search for dark matter, okay. So definitely we need to know the definition that is there. So dark matter is made up of particles that do not have a charge. So these particles are dark because they do not emit light. They don't emit light. Emitting light is an electromagnetic phenomenon. Okay. Primarily, they don't emit light because they possess mass like normal matter and interact through gravity. That's the point here. Now this calculation of dark matter has been done. You will not be able to see it. It will not be visible because it doesn't emit light. Okay. हमें दिखती चीज कैसे है? जो ही चीज दिखेगी जो लाइट को emit कर रही होगी. जो नहीं दिखती, जो night emit नहीं करती, वो चीज हम नहीं देख सकते. Okay, that's the point here. Now the point is this. This particular experiment that is being carried out, it is basically trying to prove that dark matter does exist, and the existence is proven on the basis of the calculations. So this particular term is there, Lex Zeppelin. Okay, Lex Zeppelin. Now this particular term is important for you for your prelims, that this is the research that is being carried out to identify the dark matter, to look into the mysteries that are there associated with the dark matter. Okay, so we need to put these particular things in our, you can say, notes. ये सारी चीजें हमें यहाँ पे लिखनी है, ठीक है ना? So this is how things are. Many physicists, they strongly believe that entire visible part of the universe is only 5%. Rest all is dark energy, dark matter. Okay. So which is to be proven by only you can say calculations. This is how things are. Okay. Now along with that, new guidelines to prevent unfair trade practices. Okay. So Central Consumer Protection Authority issued new guidelines. So CCPA is there, and they announced 5 guidelines to prevent unfair trade practices that are there. Okay. So unfair trade practices हो रही हैं यहाँ पे, ठीक है ना? This is how things are. New guidelines are to be put in. Okay. So this is how things are to be placed. How you have to make things, you can say, rational for the people. Now here it is focusing on the service charge. This particular thing is related to the service charge. So earlier it was found that some of the hotels, they imposed service charge on the people who visited that area, okay, that particular hotel. Now compulsorily you cannot do that. You have to tell the customer that this service charge is voluntary. If someone is interested, if someone is satisfied with the service, he will be happy to pay that amount. Okay, you cannot impose it, you cannot make things compulsory. That's the point here. Okay, so other than that, there is nothing much. So this news is there, failing the forest. Okay, so I already told in some of the sessions that we are not focusing on Forest Right Act. Even in the preservation of this environment, even in the preservation of protection of the, you can say, ecology, we are not working on Forest Right Act. Now Forest Right Act explores the role for the local community, for the tribals that are there. The point is this: if you want to, you can say, carry out the preservation activity, you want to preserve the ecology, you have to take help from tribals. Tribals have their own traditional knowledge. Okay, they know the forest more than you. So this is what government have to consider here. So even in the protection of forest areas, we need to, you can say, cater in the knowledge that tribals are having. That's the point here. So we'll move to the next news item. So here we have MP's panel opposed the mediation bill. Okay, so government is coming out with this mediation bill. Now this mediation bill proposes to establish mediation council and give powers to the court. Okay, so parliamentary standing committee has recommended some of the substantial changes. So this mediation bill, basically it is trying to facilitate institutionalization of mediation between two parties, and they are talking about establishing something called Mediation Council of India. But this particular panel, they cautioned that, like, as per this bill, the government might be thinking of making pre-litigation mediation compulsory, that before coming to court you have to carry out this mediation activity, and this panel is thinking that let's make it compulsory. Now the point that they are raising is this: if we are doing that, it means courts will be given more power to frame the rules for mediation, because everything has to be carried out, you can say, in the vision of court सब नजर रखेगा क्या चीज चल रहा है. And pre-litigation, if it is made mandatory, it will be used by some individuals to further delay the judgment, because you are going to bring one more level. Right now you have normal court, high court, supreme court. Here you are going to bring another level. Okay, so it will further delay the judgment, it will further delay the justice, and people, they will try to use it for their benefit. People will try to use it for their benefit. This is how things are. This is how things are. So other than that, there is nothing much. Okay, so कुछ खास नहीं है यहाँ पे. Here on this page as well, there is nothing much. Okay, so that's the point which is there. Now Amarnath like events unpredictable. This is how things are. Cases related to flash floods are increasing. Now I already explained this thing, that what is a flash flood. It's called badal fatna. Okay, इसलिए होता क्या है basically, like in a small area. Okay, so you can have heavy rainfall, and when that heavy rainfall is there, specifically in the mountainous region, okay, it will lead to the, you can say, flow of mud and debris, okay, from higher heights to the lower heights, and that water is going to come with the flow, come with the speed. This is what we call as flash flood. Now this particular these events are increasing. Why it is increasing? Primarily because of the climate change. Why are we blaming climate change for that? Because we have seen the penetration, the intensity of the rain has increased. Okay, intensity of rain has increased. This is how things are. So in the mountain areas, this is what is happening, and you cannot separate yourself from these events. We have to prepare for these eventualities. The best solution is that we have to first keep the climate change under control. That's the point here. We already have that, you know, Paris deal. So success of Paris deal is really important for all of us. Okay, so it will not be like this, that only the few countries will pay the price and other will be completely, you can say, they will be you can say damage free. It will not be like that. Okay, every country will pay the price. That's the point here. Other than that, potential stalemate persists in Sri Lanka. Okay, so this is what is happening right now. Things are not improving at all. There is nothing much, कुछ खास यहाँ पे news नहीं आई है. So corporate profit margins likely dipped for third straight quarter. Okay, so that's why you can say people are saying that we might be heading towards recession. But RBI governor, if you look into his statements, he said that he is confident about that Indian economy will be able to, you can say, resist the onslaught of global slowdown that is going on. But the point we have already discussed, that it is really important that we first try to resolve the Ukraine-Russia crisis. Okay, so as this crisis will, you can say, will ease out, things are going to be easier for us. Okay, already the oil prices are going down, and if the Ukraine-Russia war it ends, there will be further, you can say, decline in the international crude prices, and a country like India will be a big beneficiary of that. Okay, because we are import dependent. This is how things are there. This is how things are there. So that's it for the day then. Now India imports of Russian oil surge to record. Okay, Russia accounts 20% of the shipments right now. So we are importing nearly 9.5 lakh barrel per day. कितना बढ़ गया? Earlier it used to be 30,000 barrel per day. Right now it is 9.5 lakh barrel. This is the amount of oil that we are getting from Russia. That's the point here, because we are getting it for cheap. As simple as that. It's a economic calculation. You have to do things which are good for you. Okay, so we should not be dictated by the Western countries what is good and what is bad. That's the point here. So this is what we have in today's session. That's it for the day then. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead.